Recording in progress.
All right. 4 p.m. on Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025. I just want to thank you guys and welcome. We do these Q&As at least once a week. Just FYI, I'll make this announcement again towards the end of this Q&A. We are taking 2 weeks with no Q&As, and we really aren't going to miss you guys. No offense. But I'm looking forward to my time. And what we do is we answer questions that seem to be stuff that people are very interested in, and they range from everything regarding what we do to asset protection, how people can protect their houses, and so on. Super important that we start getting our minds wrapped around what is happening and what we need to be doing about things. People have a tendency to think that we don't have any ability to do anything about anything, and I just want you to know, um, we are strong, very strong together as a body. And for us to do nothing is when you know something is right, you know you got to do it. It's a problem. It's not just a problem. According to the book of James in the Bible, it's a sin to know something is right and right in front of you and you're doing nothing about it. And that one got me. I couldn't get around the truth behind the thought of that one statement for me to know that stuff was going on in the world and I was just living out my dream and not really worrying about the people, not really worrying about the world. And I called myself a believer and I called myself, a righteous dude. And here I was watching things happen in the world and I'm doing nothing about it. And, you know, I have a feeling that we're going to see things play out in a really kind of a weird way in the next weeks and months and years to come. And I have a feeling things are, and I've been talking about this for 10 years. It's not like I'm just coming out and seeing some newspaper articles and saying things and trying to be a prophet. I just pay attention and I watch some craziness happen in this world and it seems to play out. Well, the most important thing that we could do right now is what God said in the middle of all the chaos that was going on and all of the tribulations and all of the things. Come out of her, my people. And I did this little video 2 days ago or yesterday, maybe 2 days ago. I explained our new book. I was adamant about getting this done this year, and there was two principles of this book that I wanted to make sure we got across the board to everybody. Number one, that nothing in this book could be refuted. Facts are facts, laws are laws. Yeah, there's a couple opinions in here, but a lot of people have opinions. And what's funny is after I posted the video and I just read about 10 maybe Supreme Court cases and what the judges say about the case and the fact that the cases are shepherdized. And YouTube flashes the warning sign below the video. And it's one of those things that it's kind of a pisser because it is saying sovereign citizen or sovereign citizens. And here's what it says about those types of people is a loose group of anti-government activists, conspiracy theorists, vexatious litigants, tax protesters, and financial scammers. found mainly in English-speaking common law countries like the United States, blah, 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 and blah, blah, blah. Yet, the only thing I did was say what our Supreme Court says. That's it. That's all. I didn't form an opinion when I was citing case laws. It wasn't my personal theory. It was facts and it was shepherdized case laws. And so I took a picture of that and I instructed my attorney to sue. And so we'll see. I'm tired of it. And I'm just going to be straight up with you guys. People that are sitting on the sidelines just doing things to protect themselves and not doing things for the greater good of humanity really need to reconsider their position. And this isn't spank spank. This is just a reality check for all of us. The way they're nailing us, the way that they're getting us is they are talking about the white hats have got it. President Trump is in charge. 50 generals, 100 generals, 120 generals, 20 generals. Which one is it? Came to approach Trump, said, "You need to be president," way back. And I'm not discounting Trump. I'm simply noting the facts that none of the stuff that's really important is coming to fruition and that we are being led completely into a cashless society where by 2030, they want everybody to have a chip or a mark by next year, actually, but by 2030, where they're going to make all the accounts go to zero. And they're going to have to do something so drastic to make this thing happen. And I'm stating it's not too late. And the irony of Revelations 18:4, that's like 14 chapters, 13 chapters after the start of tribulation, and one chapter before the end, maybe two. You feel me? So and I don't believe the book of Revelations is in succession. And it's just my belief. I believe the first five books are, but I believe tribulation is partially in succession, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. But I believe a lot of that stuff happens kind of at once. And then there's obviously the release of the horsemen and different things, different punishments. But it's not until Revelations 18:4 that God's commanding the people to come out of her. And I I know that many of us would love to stay on the sideline in our cushion. But if you have resources, and I'm not asking you for anything, maybe a little bit of your time. If you have the resources, I see our videos go to hundreds of views by the end of the first day, and then they're capped. I see sometimes our videos will have a certain number on them, and the next day it's a third of that. I have lost subscribers 3 times with YouTube. Tens of thousands of subscribers just disappeared off my YouTube. That means one day they just exited them and people are no longer getting our notifications. I've watched great YouTubes go to 30,000, 20,000, 10,000, and then stop. The algorithm stops. And then the signage comes on. Sovereign citizens. Craziness that a statement would come on a video of state citizenship facts. So some of you are like, well, how I can help? It's so simple. Just go to the video we published yesterday and watch what I did. I took 15 minutes and I explained this book. Then somebody can buy the book for $2.99 right now, or get a hard copy for about 17 bucks. The book is about an hour and a half read, very short, maybe 2 hours if you're a slow reader. When you're done, you will feel empowered. When you're done, you will know that the steps that you can take in this nation are absolutely given and allowable under the Supreme Court. And you're going to know straight up how they faked us out and how they continue to fake us out with the words national, national of the United States. You're going to know the key terms and important things that you need to be considering for yourself when you're making an educated decision. There's nothing there in the Supreme Court that talks about a pathway to freedom called national or national of the United States or state national or American national. And I explain this so that people can understand. I also explain the misconception of sovereign citizens. And I'm going to take a minute and read this to you guys because they want to post that to the book. And I'm going to read to you what the federal government does. And I really want to say it like this. I want to read to you what the corporation masquerading as a country does, who made everybody give themselves over to that corporation to become surety in the collateral. They bankrupted it, and now they're closing down the entirety of the world, where they brought everybody in every birth certificate that was monetized through the Securities and Exchange Commission underneath the United States bankruptcy. And where now they are shutting it down and bringing forth action against the people of the world, and to have a wearable, have an implant, and track and move every single move that you make for the rest of your life, which is really where the Chinese are and where I do not want to be. It is critical to understand the difference between the sovereign citizen movement and the conception or the concept of state citizen. The term sovereign citizen, which is inherently contradictory, has emerged to describe individuals who claim personal sovereignty while often rejecting governmental authority or corporate authority. However, many who adopt this label do so unwittingly, failing to recognize the critical distinction between U.S. citizen who, through contractual obligations, owes allegiance to the federal corporate entity, and the citizen of the state of the union who is the true sovereign within the republic. State citizen is not a concept. It's what our founders were. State citizen is grounded both in our Supreme Court and constitutional principles and deeply rooted in American history and framework. The concept of sovereign citizen is a misnomer that often leads people to take unsound legal positions, such as making meritless claims because they cannot provide any proof or refute or rebut the jurisdiction to which they are bound to obey because of contract. By recognizing the importance of contracts and the distinction between the state and the federal jurisdictions, the people can reassert their rightful place as sovereigns of the republic. Remember something. The Supreme Court rule that I gave to you guys yesterday, where it says for a U.S. citizen that it cannot be, your citizenship cannot be just lost. There has to, and I'm going to read it to you again in a second, but you have to make the decision for yourself. So this is what they've been telling everybody, that President Trump's going to reinsert the republic. President Trump is the republic. President Trump is for a republic. Doesn't matter. If you, as the people, which the people are the republic, a president is not. The president cannot reassert he can certainly help. He can certainly lead the judiciary to be informed. But for you personally, he cannot overcome your private right to contract. That's the Supreme Court. That is the Constitution. A man or a woman's private right to contract. So he will never have the lawful authority or ability to sign your freedom on your behalf. It has to be induced by you, according to the Supreme Court. It also is something that can be done by allegiance. It's not something they can withhold from you. And so those are the common questions. This is a Q&A, and those are the common questions that people have. How do I know I can do this? Well, the Supreme Court says so. How do I know it still exists in law? Well, the Supreme Court still exists, and so does these cases. And yes, you can get a passport where you apply as a state citizen and not a United States citizen. The conflation of terms like sovereign citizen and democratic republic serve to mislead the populace. A republic is based on God-given unalienable rights and common law principles, whereas a democracy operates on a majority rule, which can potentially infringe upon individual liberties. This deliberate misinterpretation diverts attention from the people's true standing and power within the republic. So when you see President Trump or anybody else in leadership talk about our democratic form of republic or democracy, they're misleading. I don't care. I don't care how you feel about him. I don't care what great things he has done. It is seriously misinformed or misleading the American people. The Declaration of Independence, 1776, remains a testament to the people's right to alter or abolish any government that violates their natural rights. By understanding and embracing the principles of state citizenship, individuals can reclaim their sovereignty and restore the republic to its foundational ideals. Listen, I've never done this before. And I don't ever want to speak bad about anybody publicly. But anybody that goes down the road of Anna von Reitz or David Straight and goes after national, American national, state national, and they do these affidavit processes to make a claim. I've done a video to show you that the law says a national is a person that owes allegiance to a state. That was created under U.S. Code 9 or 8 U.S.C. 1101A21. The reason why I'm saying this is those people have been over and over told this directly and indirectly by friends of mine and through my videos. And I have positioned myself perfectly with this book because what they do is they write these affidavits saying, I am this. And guys, I fell for this. Look, I'm not above these tricks. I fell for 9/11. I'm not above it. Okay. I fell for taking away our privileges. I fell for these things. I fell for the Republican Party. I fell for the tricks. The bottom line is the law is fact. You may not agree with it, but all these laws are doing in this book are pointing to fact patterns that were decided by the Supreme Court of the United States of America. That's it. So when you see a movement like Anna von Reitz or many people going down that road where for $20 you can become a slave again, you don't know what you don't know. And I didn't know what I didn't know when I first started down this road. It took a lot for me to understand what I was doing. And I've taken my signature off a lot of documents to make sure I was free because in the process of trying to become free, I screwed myself over many times. And so I learned, and I'm sharing this with you. And there's only one process in the United States of America, and that's utilizing the steps. And the requirement is public notice, a showing allegiance, and that's generally done in an affidavit, sworn testimony, and affirmed with a notary. And then you apply for status, which has to be ultimately recognized, which is the passport. Then you got to use the administrative processes to effect new agreements with these adhesion trusts, the DMV, the voters, the Social Security Administration, the IRS. The IRS, you're completely stripping your name off of many documents, and you're invoking the revocation of election, and you're doing the notice of status. This is what the requirement is in order for you to become free. And then you come behind it with an act of state and you serve everybody with who you are. That is the perfect design of freedom. Nobody else can go around that and say one affidavit is going to take care of all of that. No, one affidavit put into the public does not give notice to the person that you wrote a contract with, like your driver's license. One affidavit doesn't do that. And even if it was fraud in the fact and fraud from the beginning, even if you were 16 when you made that DMV agreement, even if you were 8 years old when you made a Social Security agreement, even if you were all of these things, it does not negate the fact that you have to change the trust indenture that you have been a party to as an adult for your entire adult life. You've got to change the way that you are operating the trust because it's the continual operation of the trust, filing tax returns, voting, driving, getting tickets, paying for driver's licenses. It's the continued operation of these trusts to show that you've had an adult mindset, an adult decision, and therefore you're carrying out this office known as U.S. citizen, known as voter, known as driver, known as employee of the United States. The only way, this is why I'm really harping on this, and this is why we've outlined it to the T. The only way to freedom is to deal with all of the agreements, all of them. Because if you read warrants and indictments, there's a three contract rule that they generally do to show that you've said, I am a U.S. citizen, to show that you're holding the office, to show they have subject matter jurisdiction over you. It's just a fact. And we got to get smart about this. So, the one thing that you guys can do, the one thing that you can be effective on is simply forward the video and forward the book for purchase or purchase the book, like some of you have already done. Some of you that are listening and purchase up to 50 or 100 copies. I know you personally. I want to thank you. And you're sending them to your friends, the people that mean something to you. And then once they start seeing that this is legitimate, the rabbit hole opens for them. We don't know where we're going in 4 or 5 or 10 years. We don't necessarily need to understand all of those things. It doesn't need to make sense to us, all the things that they are going to do. But all I know is my God, and yeah, I'm going religious, honey, is saying, come out of her, my people. And I have explained her, and I've explained the Babylonian system and the beast system. And I am unwavering on this simple fact that we've all invested in a whore that is bankrupt, broke, and sinful. And we continue to place our talents, our works, our hands, our employmentship, our devotion to the whore instead of saying, I'm sorry. I disagree with the financial structure to which you are operating under. I'm sorry. I don't like the way that you're spending the money on. I'm sorry. I think what you are doing is sinful and I want no part of it. And that's really where I came from. I came from, I do not have, and I said this to a group of 8 Christians. They said, what are you, a tax protester? Straight out of the Fox News playbook. Oh, I'm a tax protester. Well, I would rather be a tax protester than a baby killer like you because your funds go to kill millions of babies all over this world. You are funding out things to which you don't even know about, things to which we cannot get accountability on. And you continue to do it. And your pastor even says that's what it takes to be a good Christian. Boom. Mic drop. That was a mouse drop. You know, it's frustrating to me, but at the same time, I'm excited and I'm encouraged. And I think we have a staple here. I think we have something, and I owe it to my co-writers, my friends, the guys who helped me put this thing finally together. And we've worked hard on it this last 6 months, 8 months, actually years, 10 years, but we really went hard on it for the last year. And we designed something that makes it easy to understand the why and the how, and it's not very difficult to read. And so if you have the ability, meaning to type, to text, um, to forward, I'm really asking you to do that today and for the next several months, and let's create a movement. To do nothing is sinful when you know something is right. People that are locked into a citizenship that makes them the surety and the collateral for a defunct company that is working very closely with the pharmaceuticals to come and chip and mark and, take their property. I'm so blessed. I'm meeting people that know how to reset the DNA, the markers that they're changing, that they're altering, that know how to flush out the blood and give a second chance to somebody that made a mistake in this last 5 years. God orchestrates his perfection and his protection always. Therefore, it's never too late to stand. All the way down to the point to where you are stepping on a train. Never too late to stand. All the way to the point where you're going in an elevator down. All the way to the point where you're being told you must take this. You must wear this, or you will not be allowed to XXX. You have hands, you have a brain, and today you have freedom. If you do nothing, the playbook suggests that it will come upon you quickly. If you do something and you promote something that you believe in and you get behind something, it's only a body of people that are free that will be able to operate in community to protect one another through these coming months, years, what have you. It's only people that are making the moves right now, financially speaking, physically speaking, jurisdictionally speaking, that are going to make it through to the other side. Guess what, guys? I know the game, I know the playbook, and I know we win. We've already won. That means you, as a believer, have got to grab as many souls, totally a different subject matter. You, as a believer, have to stand firmly in the United Kingdom. It's illegal to pray unless you're Muslim. It just is. I'm not quoting myself, I'm quoting a law that their Congress made. What are you gonna do when they bring that here? Seriously. What are you gonna do when the wars are above all wars that you've ever seen before? Like when you look up and you see something massive and it's firing things at you. Don't take my word. They're starting to introduce it back. Started with a operation called Operation Bluebeam. Then came a president saying at the United Nations, Ronald Wilson Reagan in 1984. What a wonderful thing it would be, and how quickly the world would come back together if we were only attacked by an alien invasion. Yes, he said it. And about 10 years ago, I didn't predict anything. I started talking about it as if that was the weirdest thing to come out of my mouth. And you know what? It's now coming from Fox News and different news sources that there's something heading to the earth. This isn't just me. So no matter what you see, I'm prepping you. No matter how scary it is, you hold firm to the word. Go memorize some verses and call them out loud, asking for the protection of the blood, asking for the rebuke of whatever attack. That's going to be my battleground because I know what we're going to be dealing with is spiritual in nature. And I know that the battleground is real. I don't think that object is necessarily real. And I don't think what coming out of it is necessarily real. But I know it just got weird to a lot of people. And I'm okay with that. It got weird to a lot of people in 2010 when I started talking about republic. And then 12 when I started talking about state citizenship. Everybody thought I was weird. Now I finally get to the point where I can back it up. Back it up. Here's what it says, not Kelby. This is the Supreme Court. And it's backed up now. And a lot of mainstream, like a lot of my friends who are mainstream, a lot of people worth a lot of money in the mainstream community, the finance, mainstream community of insurance. They're blown away by this. Why? Because it talks in their language. Why? Because it's using the principles of court and the understanding of contracts. Many people feel the same thing we do. We just have to stop being afraid to make an introduction to something that's this important. The more people that we have free, the more people we have to build the community together with, the more people that we have to reinstate the republic with. And I've always said this. I see a divided nation of people. I see the goats and the sheep, meaning the people under God and the people sucked into being under the enemy. I see us holding strong together, sword in one hand, building a wall with the other, eating a sandwich. Don't ask me how. I see us working together, whatever that means, is what I'm saying. Don't believe the narratives of all the things that are going on, all of the illusions that you are seeing, all of the presentations coming from Instagram, coming from all these different podcasters who are obviously, guys, obviously at one time a high level government operative, obviously. And then don't listen to the low level gurus who are lying to you and putting you in positions of harm. Just do what you feel is right. And if the Supreme Court says it, it is not something that can be challenged. Let me say it to you this way. You know what causes a court to shudder? Something that's already been decided. Do you know what causes a court to stand on what you believe in? What's already been decided in court. Why do you think I want the world to know about this? Why do you think they hide this from the American people? Why do you think they push back and make it hard and make fun of us and call us names? Why do you think? Instead of conforming, realizing it's happening, realizing it was done before the dawn of time, that God would grant this opportunity for us before the dawn of time as fellow Americans. But it's up to you to push this and not believe the narrative that the orange guy with the blonde hair, the Donald, is going to save us. There's nobody but God and you. Anything else is an operation that the Donald is not a part of. I'm not saying he's not being used by God. I'm not saying he's not a believer. I'm not saying he's not here to help us. I'm saying he's running a corporation that is defunct and he can't take away your right to contract just randomly. I'll read it to you. Hang tight. The Supreme Court, Ephraim versus Rusk, and the Supreme Court held that the U.S. citizenship cannot be involuntarily revoked by the government. Why did I put that in here? U.S. citizenship. That means your citizenship cannot be involuntarily revoked by Donald Trump. It will be strong held according to the Supreme Court. The only one that can revoke it is you. You. You're it. It's your God given unalienable right. The republic cannot be stood by one man. The republic is the body of people working together, and this case proves it. And it's all about allegiance only. Isn't that interesting how God is about allegiance? The belief about his son is all allegiance. Your salvation is your faith and allegiance to God. I just find that all very interesting. Do with that what you will. Yeah, we all got stuck. Joseph, State National. It's funny, you got this entire affidavit, state, national, 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 but then they have these Supreme Court rulings at the end of the affidavit that are all state citizenship. But you signed that you were an 8 USC 1101 A21, which is synonymous to a US citizen. Crazy. All right, I'm going to get to the questions. Thank you. Thank you for putting up with my 36-minute rant. I love ranting. It feels good. It lets me just get some stuff off my chest. But again, this is on you. Help, help. I'm not asking for your donations. This is on you. Help us get this out. As soon as America wakes up, as soon as we get onto a podcasting tour and we start getting out there and getting in front of people, there's nothing they can say. You know, they're going to interrupt. They might throw me under the bus. They might try to make me look bad. They might try to pull some fast ones, whatever. I don't care. I honestly, I don't care. I know for a fact that the truth always wins, and I know that God is on the side of freedom. And so that's my job. I'm just going to stay firm on that. And I don't care how much they make fun of this. I don't care what kind of names we get called. We're going to press forward, and we need your help to do it. So do me a favor, just forward the links to your friends to the video yesterday that we posted on YouTube, which for some strange reason I can't download it. If somebody can please download it and send me the link, for some strange reason I can't download the video. Um, I need that video from yesterday on YouTube. Uh, please go look. It's under the live section and download it. Thank you. All right, first question. Having all of our cryptos on Ledger hard wallets, that's a cold storage wallet. Can we get conversions done directly to Caleb and Brown or some exchange account without going through a ledger to accomplish that? Or is that an impossibility since it's a ledger wallet? I don't know exactly the question you're answering, but if you're asking, can you contract with Caleb and Brown or a entity to push money through to convert into capital? No, you have to let it go off the ledger, get it to them, tell them what you want it to be, and have them wire the money. If the question is, are you able to keep it on a ledger and work with an exchange to make an interest rate? The answer is no. But there are smart contracts that we can do, and we're going to get into a lot of that in the future. Second question. We used a notary at the UPS to do one or two of our documents, which you now recently said you could not do. Why? I don't know what I said exactly or what you're talking about. It's acceptable to use a notary to do your UPS doc so that you can forward them the new 1583. It's perfectly acceptable. Do you need to redo them? I don't know exactly what you think you did wrong. I'm going to suggest if you did it the way we originally taught you, you're fine. When we donated our hard wallets to the foundation, we used a notary, but not a double notary. That's very good that you remembered that, but you messed it up just a bit. Some places require a notary, meaning some states, for like a will. Let's just consider everything we're doing is to be able to pass it on to our kids with absolute reservation that we know we did it right. So it's a double witness and it's a notary. And if it were me, I'd do it all on video. And my I'd read the entirety of the doc. I'd say I'm notarizing it. I'm getting a dual witness. Here's what I would like to happen to this foundation upon the passing of myself or my wife, and I would like these things to remain in the foundation, and da 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 da. And I would explain it, put it all in a document, dual witness, notary, and you're golden. Jurisdictionally, you're golden. Nobody can rebut the presumption of what you had intended. Next question. The notaries that we have used to go through the living in a private process all asked to see our driver's licenses, but never have used our fingerprints to verify we are who we say we are, doing what we say we want to do. Are these notarized papers still valid? Yes. Generally in most states, in California, they require it on everything. In most states, it's only required on deeds, mortgage deeds, stuff like that, important documents, the thumbprint. So you're fine. And then um, when you're doing a notarized document, don't worry about the drivers. They can ask whatever they want. They just need identification. Give them your passport. All right, next question. Um, if my all caps name is on the mortgage with my wife's, who is not going through the LPP process, do I need to remove it from the mortgage, or is it not a jurisdictional problem? It is not a jurisdictional problem. Don't worry about that in the slightest. Just keep pressing forward. There's notices that you can do to the mortgage carrier after the fact, and it's really not that important. Um, got a question from Landon over here in YouTube. Do technology patent laws apply to State of the Union citizens? Do DARPA classified patents apply? I'm thinking in light of alternative energy tech and anti-gravity tech. Ooh, you're a smart guy. No, they don't. They only apply to things that they have jurisdiction over. So that's why I kind of like what they're doing is floating these metal particulates through the air so that we're breathing them in. That's why you're seeing Alzheimer's go through the roof, dementia, Lou Gehrig's disease, all these brain function diseases. Um, and but there's a voluntary thing that needs to happen. Generally, it's the injection, or it's going to be the wearable at first, or the implantable chip second. But no, none of that stuff applies to State of the Union citizens. You're free under God to do what you wish. The difference is I'm going to tell people that are state citizens they need to really work on, especially if you've had the arm thing, that really need to work on a detox, and you need to get these metals out of you, period. Super important, guys. It's also super important to just do it from a health standpoint. Uh, I have done some things in the last 6 months that have really changed my life. I'm not going to get into it with you tonight, but things that I'm going to continue to do. I'm using frequency machines. I am flushing my system out, and the way that I feel and how I feel and am able to operate in the brain fog is lifted, and how tired I am is completely not gone, but lifted substantially. And I'm no longer dehydrated, and I can go on with all the health benefits. I never took any uh, of the injections. I never took a flu shot. I've never done anything like that in my life, but I've been breathing the same chemicals and the same stuff that's being dropped on us. And I've worn clothes that really are not probably good for our body, our skin. And I'm thinking all the way down those lines of how they can introduce and make an individual or a man, a part of the Internet of Things. So we have to really consider, um, you know, a sauna is no longer really a benefit. It's an absolute that you need to have in your life, a sauna. You need to be on something that's boosting the immune system. I would recommend Protandim. Um, Yes, I do represent this company. It's not something I push very hard, but I've been on this for about 12 years. This takes your cell at the cellular level. This is backed by it's a publicly traded company. They've been around and backed by um, hundreds and hundreds of independent research studies showing that this combination of all natural ingredients, not one pharmaceutical, not one chemical, all natural ingredients, the combination takes your cellular level from creating one antioxidant to one free radical. A free radical is a floating something in your bloodstream, in your blood, in your body, and it takes one antioxidant in it, and it takes your cell's ability to create 1 to 1 to 1 million to 1. So it's flooding your body with antioxidants to deal with the free radicals, which deals with the oxidative stress. Number one killer and number one heart stuff, all kinds of problems with that. So you want to reinforce yourself. You want to get the sweat going. And we have to, unfortunately, we have to think about these things. These people, these crazy people have been under attack or been attacking us, whether you want to believe it or not, through chem spray, chemtrails, aluminum, barium, strontium. This is public knowledge. This isn't Kelby making up a conspiracy anymore. Guys, you need to go and look up geoengineering. There's websites out there that show the public laws, and I've shown the public laws and make this thing a real thing. It actually is real. Not just that, but they've been in these shots. They've been injecting people with nanoparticulate technologies and graphene and different things. I don't want to get into it all, but you really got to consider getting this stuff out of your body, because to answer your question, if they don't have any jurisdiction over your body legally and lawfully, and or because they can show they can make a connection and shut you down, and they have no control, and you're living in that free man life, because you're clean inside, you're clean outside, and as lawfully speaking, they don't have any jurisdiction, pharmaceuticals especially. How do we get your book? You can go to the below this video. There's a link right now to buy the book. You can go to Amazon.com. By the way, we're number one in multiple categories, bestseller, number one in multiple categories, I think five or six, as an Amazon number one best-selling book because of you guys. And I want to carry that ride and keep going. I want mainstream America. Can't wait till I sit down with Tucker. Can't wait to open and expose. And there's guys out there that you think would want to show this stuff. They don't. I'm not going to get into the names with you. People that you would think are on our side, they're not. Okay, I'll just leave that right there. Um, in applying for an online account for a private foundation with a bank, they tell you that if you're not a U.S. person, that you should sign a W-8 form instead. If you then ask them the question, I'm a state citizen, not a U.S. person, U.S. citizen, should I use the form W-8? They reply, no, you need to sign as a U.S. citizen. They will also not allow me to apply on offline, nor can I give them an explanatory statement along with an application. Okay. You are thinking the right way, 100%. You're just overthinking. And we don't always need to address every bank the same way. If I couldn't take control of a signature card, I know I can take control of a signature. Y'all know what I'm talking about. I've discussed this with you in the past. Non-assumptive in cursive. You can also serve constructive notice after the fact. Once you get the account open, please add this to my application, just to make sure that I appreciate you opening up the account. You're a great bank, and that I am in fact a citizen of the United States of America and a citizen of California. And I want to thank you for the opportunity to have this account. Just make sure this is affixed as a permanent record to my account. Boom, done. Um, you don't need a WABEN. You don't need to just get the account established, make your reservations of rights, and do your notices that you may need to do or not do. But if you're doing a reservation or you're signing the way that I just said, there's no notice or anything that needs to be done. Hope that helps. Um, if I'm opening an account for a private foundation and Old Glory Bank tells me I must sign the online application as a U.S. citizen, what stealth and shrewd strategy do I implement in order to get around this requirement so I end up signing as a state citizen instead? So, what you're worried about is the language on the agreement. I understand what Old Glory is saying, and we only do digital. That is a low level person. Most people, like if you do enough research, most people will still give the opportunity to give you a PDF file that you can print out and sign and do whatever you want to do. So I wouldn't worry about that. And I know what you told me they said to you, and I have been told multiple times by multiple agencies and multiple banks, we only do it this way. And prove that wrong. So just work it through and remember what I said previous on your last question on reservations. Hi, Kelby. My wife and I are having our first child in February. Should I sign the birth certificate paperwork that they give me, or is there an alternative route to take? If there's an alternative route, will the paperwork allow me to get a passport for the child? Because I will need to have the option to travel outside the country. Great questions. If you can have a hospital plan, um, I'm hoping you're a member of HISadvocates.org, especially a VIP member, because you can get a lot of help there with people who actually work for his advocates who've gone through this with themselves. You have to have a plan, a hospital plan. If you're going to be going to a hospital, you got to have something that shows what your desire is. Um, you're not going to let the kid out of your sight. You're not going to let the kid have any injections. You're not going to let the kid um they can't do the typical things that they do with the kid. You're going to let the placenta stay on the mom until that thing is white as white gets. Do not let them cut it. Do not let them exchange it. It's when all the stem cells are completely done. My understanding is it will fall off. Um, it's the cutting of that, and they get to use the placenta. You're going to want to keep the placenta. You're not going to want to give the afterbirth to them. There's some reasons behind that. I'm not going to get into that with you. Regarding the birth certificate paperwork, I would never sign a live born record. You're not signing a birth certificate. You're signing a live born record. With them or with the state, I would get out of the hospital. Um, make sure that you're doing reservations on everything, but understand something. Um, some of these hospitals will still send in a birth certificate and call your son John Doe, and show you as the father, show the mom, and will sign it on your behalf. I've seen it because they're making money on it. Or because they feel like they're going to get in trouble if they don't. Whatever the reason is, they're wrong. They cannot be doing that and creating a title, if you will, to which now the state takes and incorporates as if it's you as the father doing this or you as the mother giving the child over to the state, and it's not. So just make sure that you're um just post your question and we'll get somebody to associate to your question that has experience in this. And please be a VIP member. It really does support us and it really does help us and it allows for us to get some time associated to it. And there's some things that you're going to want to see that are created by these people that have gone through this with multiple kids that don't have birth certificates. And the final question, yes, you can get a child without a birth certificate, a passport, 100%. All right. What is the website address to the republic that you have mentioned on the past call? Republic for the United States of America.org. Republic for the United States of America.org. This is the only republic that has been under attack This is the only republic that did it lawfully right. This is the only republic that continues to get infiltrated and they try to tear it down. Why? You'd figure if you're an employee of the United States, you would conform and want to be a part of it. But no, the banks that control the corporation that is in receivership under bankruptcy rules wants to stay in power, those banks. And that's why they are doing what they're doing with these agencies that really have no true lawful authority over the people, like sorry to say, the FBI, the CIA, and the like. I'm not saying there's bad people, but there's seems to be a lot of conflict with these entities inside of the federal government. It's crazy. Um, Next question. If we manage to get at least some members to join a foundation ministry, can they donate their property to the foundation and receive a jurisdictional tax protection? They can, okay, jurisdictionally correct. You would have to do a deed properly, but you can donate any land, any car into a foundation name, and the person donating it can get a receipt from the foundation, and they can get and have a tax offset for their own property for whatever purposes that they want to do. Most people donating stuff into a foundation are generally largely about 50-60% are private already, so they don't have those needs, but they still can. Anybody that makes a donation or a contribution, let's just say, to a foundation is they get the deduction on their taxes just like any other nonprofit or tax exempt organization. How do you go about registering vehicles in the foundation name? Can we get auto insurance in the foundation name? So, great question. Yeah, everything I have is in a foundation name. I don't own anything. I'm broke. Actually, I don't need to say that. Um, but I don't own anything. But I don't like speaking that over myself either. Yeah, you can put a name, you can put any car in a foundation name, and the element of the insurance is you're the insured, and you just make the foundation the loss payee, LOSSPAYEE. Okay. I think my process would work in the UK without any doubt, and somebody would just have to change the docs. And I know it would work the same in Australia. I don't think they'd have any luck in China, but who knows? How do you change your name on your passport, license, et cetera, without a marriage license in the private? You're going to have to go to court. Remember, it's not your name, it's their name. It's not your name, it's their name. Like, it's my name. No, it's not. Okay. If you have a birth certificate, it's their name. And you'd have to go down to court and just do a name change at the courthouse and use those docs to go and change a DL or a passport or whatever. Great question. That, by the way, is the first time I've ever answered that question on a Q&A. Congratulations. Normally I'm on the 12th time or 15th or 100th now. Um, can you set up a brokerage account for a foundation like this one? For crypto trading, traditional markets, stock markets, day trading options. Yeah, all day long. Fidelity is one of them. There's several. Fidelity is one of them. Kraken, Caleb and Brown for crypto. If the world goes upside down with the flat earth, I'm just saying, is that what you're saying? Because a ball can go upside down, right? It just spins. I know it was a rhetorical question. Everybody calm down. It's okay. I'm not a flat earther yet. I'm taking steps. Do you think that the powers that will respect the lawful steps that we have taken to remove ourselves from their jurisdiction? I love this question. Love this question. If anybody steps on my rights to be a free man, they're going to get the force of a free man. And I'm not worried about the powers. I know that the powers say they are screwed if they touch me. Okay. I know the powers keep the jurisdictional provisions away from me. I know the power structure says that I am free under God. I know that their own law is in support of what I'm doing. And without this, without the support of the law, you have nothing. So you've got to be in and under that jurisdiction of the Elohim, which is really what a state citizen is under the Declaration of Independence, be under that jurisdiction to even be able to make a claim. So let's not worry about the guys that are bad actors, the guys that don't know certain things, the guys that want to behave certain ways. Let's not worry about them. Let's just get the steps going for ourselves to move into the private. And then let's learn enforcement, learn how to stand, learn how to hold your hands like this on your sides, put your chest out, your chin up, have a little bit of a humble attitude. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm being funny. But the reality is, many people need to learn how to stand and they don't know how, and it's okay. I get it. But we're here to help people understand who they are as children under the Most High and what a state citizen actually is. And that's why we got to take these steps together and support one another. And this is why you need to push this to as many people as possible. If you're not pushing this to as many people as possible, who are you going to have next to you thinking the same way? Nobody. You can get this to your friends, get this to your family, get them a free copy, buy it for them, sit them down, put them in a room, read this out loud. What does this have to do with us? Well, do you want freedom? Yes, I want freedom, but I'm already free. No, you're not. Show them in the law where it says they're not. Show them in the Trading with the Enemy Act. I'm going to do a video on the Trading with the Enemy Act, where the United States citizen is the enemy combatant and belligerent to the United States. God bless these smart fools, man, and what they did to this nation. They will be judged, but don't worry about things going upside down. Just know you're being called to come out, and that's it. And then start working on that look. Start working on the arms, on the side stand. Do a Superman stand or something. I don't know. Yeah, I'm being funny, but it really helps. It does. When you walk into a room, I've been surrounded by cops. One time I was letting my daughter drive a golf cart. This is not a joke. Next thing you know, I've got five security guys from the facility calling the sheriffs and standing around me in a circle, which is what the sheriffs do every time I see them engage a guy. They stand around him in a circle. And you know, if you don't know who you are in these times where they are usurping some disgusting authority over a man who's just traveling in a golf cart in a private community, not even on a street, on a private side. It's not a sidewalk. It's I was in a RV park. I mean, it's private. And they said, you need to have a driver's license. I said, really? My daughter needs a driver's license now to drive a golf cart. Really? And I just hounded them. I said, they're all, well, that's a motor vehicle. And I said, show me the VIN number. And I had him. I had him right there. And so this is a private conveyance. There's no VIN number. This isn't registered with the DMV. This is not a motor vehicle. It's a private conveyance. You need to leave us alone. Well, you signed this on your night. I said, no, I didn't. No, I didn't. You need to go pull the paperwork. I never agreed to this. Bottom line is they wanted my daughter to have a driver's license to drive a golf cart. Come on, man. I drove my dad's golf cart when I was 9 years old, 8 years old, everywhere. Everywhere. Took him. I just went all 18 holes with him. I'd run his balls, clean the golf balls. I'd clean the golf balls. I did whatever my dad needed, and I got to learn how to drive a golf cart at like 8 or 9 years old, whatever it was. Crazy. And my daughter was 15. It wasn't like she was like this punk kid. All right. Would I get a private mailbox the same way I did before, the living in a private suggested way? Move my foundation address. Would I get a private mailbox the same way I did before? I would. You just want to have on file, you want to try to not have a contract under 1583. And so what I do is make sure I'm signing a proper 1583 and I do mean something by proper, um, so that there is no contract. They accept it. They let me receive mail. I had this mail location around me tell me I needed to sign a new 1583 for a year. They've now left me alone. They love me. They love the money. I'm easy. So I didn't conform when the United States Post Office said, you need to make sure everybody is recontracted with this new 1583. I said, no, I don't. I don't need a recontract. I don't need to bring you two more additional proofs of whatever. If you don't want my business, that's fine. We'll stop getting mail here, but you're going to have a problem because it's going to cost you X for me to relocate all this information and all this stuff because my time is valuable. And I never agreed to any of this when we originally came into an agreement. And you can't come in the middle of an agreement and say you're done when I never agreed to that originally. Go read our docs and understand what you have in front of you. The bottom line is just you don't want a contract on a 1583. So whether it's done by reservation, on a sumpsit, or an adjusted 1583, think that through and make sure everything's in the name of the foundation, period. Now that can be done many ways. You can have your mom, your sister, your somebody else who's not coming out to get that box open and then put a couple foundation names on it. It can be done 1,000 different ways. You can go to a neighbor's house and receive foundation mail for free. You can I can't wait, there's coming a time where I'm going to set up a mail location system for all of Americans, to where we will just drop and forward mail only to foundation names across the country so they can receive it here, one location, no matter what, and we'll know how to handle it. We'll scan it in, mail it, whatever they need, whatever they ask for. I have a feeling that's a service that's going to be needed in a big way someday, and it's not a profitable one, but it's a service that's needed so people don't contract with the corporation because that's how they're nailing people's jurisdiction through the post office. Okay. Um, if you were to move, would you notify the towns you moved out and of your new address? No. Be sure to get the Flyover Conservatives podcast when you're on your book tour. Please go to them and ask if they want me to be on their podcast. Let them know I have a best-selling book from Amazon, number one. Not like we're in the top 100. We're number one on multiple categories. I am currently going to a flyer I'm going to give to both links. Anybody that is out there, please support us in getting this out. Um, hold on. I really want to get this out. Nope, I'm looking in the wrong area. That's why I couldn't find it. Web space. Hang on. Super important. I might have to upload it right now. Oh my God, pictures right there. Yeah, I'm gonna get it uploaded right now. Just work with me. I really want you guys to have this. It's super important because a lot is going on right now, and the more as members we have to, because I know a lot of you guys do want to support us and want to help us out, and getting us in front of podcasts would really be a big help. And a lot of you guys have relationships with these podcasts and don't really have anything to give them. I did send out a flyer to the masses the other day, that you could send out on our behalf. And um, There it is. And there it is. Okay, so I'm going to post this first into um, the only thing that this doesn't have is that we're number one bestseller on Amazon. But if you can pull that up and use this in an email and say, I'd like to hook you up with this guy on state citizenship, it's probably the most important subject matter that you can get. And just send an email to me on a CC with them and make an introduction. My email is Kelby, Kelby at HISAdvocates.org. So send this flyer, send an email, start the initial marketing, try to get us together on a an opportunity where I can discuss what we do with other podcasters. We are going on a podcasters tour. When I get back at the end of this month, I'm going to be gone the next 2 weeks. But when I get back, we are going to go on a podcast tour on some pretty large podcasts, not the biggest ones. Those big ones want money. They want 10 to 20 grand per podcast just to get on, believe it or not. Not all of them, but a lot of them. And yeah, we can't afford those, but we were able to afford a good chunk of smaller but good sized podcasters, and we hired a company to help get us on to this book tour, speaking tour kind of a thing. Anyway, again, use our link, send an email to Kelby, put them on the email, and let's see if we can't come together and book a time to at least have an initial conversation, see if there's some like-minded things that need to happen. Also, there's an opportunity for an income for podcasters as well in a lot of different ways. Number one, on people they refer, but number two, we can give them a platform. Listen to me carefully. We can give them a platform on His Advocates TV. And starting in 2026, I'm going crazy on His Advocates TV. I'm done with the book. I'm done with a lot of things, but my devotion, my time towards getting this private network built with podcasters that have a like mind, I'm 100% going for it. And so we can put them on their own channel brand on His Advocates TV. They can do subscriptions, pay-per-views, rentals, whatever they want, and we have the ability to create them an app where somebody would land directly on their channel and subscribe directly to their channel. There's a lot of opportunity and discussion points with podcasters that we have that a lot of people don't have. Anyway, next question. In making God the grantor of the foundation, is it better to have someone sign for God and have the trustee be the signer? Also, you use the name like El Leon or Yahweh or Yaira as the name of God, question mark. Um, okay, so a church is kind of like a trust. Not exactly. God is the grantor of everything. Yeshua is the beneficial interest of everything, of the entirety of this earth. Revelations 5. And you can use whatever name you want. You need to define it if you're going to use a name. But you don't want to create a trust type environment. A church by nature is like a trust where God is the grantor, Yeshua is the beneficial interest. You operating as the executive director are like a trustee. But the reason why a church is above all and above trust law, the one that benefits is Yeshua upon a sale, because you're putting the proceeds back into something that he is the beneficial interest and owner on of all. It doesn't make it a trust that you have a grantor, a grantee, and a trustee. So you want to operate it with reverence. This is why we get statements of faith from people, and this is why we tell people to do right by this, to make sure that this isn't a tax haven for you. This isn't an exemption for you. This is so that you can protect what belongs to the beneficial interest, which is Yeshua. So that's all we're really here for, is operating what belongs to God with reverence and respect. and understand that we are going to give an account one day to God. And although it's like a trust, you don't need to like specifically name, but you can, as God being the grantor, Yahushua, Yah, Yahweh, whatever, just define that for yourself. And so we all know who that is. And I know some people say Jesus, some people say Yahushua, some people say Yahshua, some people say Yeshua. Um, I've had a profound relationship with Jesus for my entire adult life. And I don't think he's pissed off at me because I'm getting his name wrong. I've had many people call me by Colby, Kirby, and after a while, you just don't care, especially when they're really trying to be your friend, when they're really trying to seek help from you, and they don't need to know the language to which your name is professly, expressly, you know, how it is to sound. I think there's power in his name, and if said properly, and I know I'm off track here. I think if said properly, you would understand it's literally the breath of life. You know, when you say his name, Yahweh, it's an outward, inwardly breathing thing. He is literally the breath of life. And so you have to have a reverence and a respect. But I'm only saying all this to you to help you to understand. Just define it as to what it is. Don't make it a grantor grantee thing or a beneficial interest. A church just is that. That's what a church is. And nobody can penetrate the church because it's a 5 out of 5 on a level of Kevlar protection, really thick protection for people that are seeking asset protection because we're giving it all to God right now. Because he owns it. We can't take land. You're going to get buried in it. You can't take it with you. You can't take money, digital currency, gold, silver. You can't take any of that with you. It all belongs to God, just like you do. And so you want to make sure that you just give it all to him right now and operate it above reproach. And this is why it's protected beyond anything. Hope that helps. Next question. After almost a year, the exchange in which the foundation out of the account is now asking for valid individual proof of address for the individual who has the authorized user, and they have already asked for the address for the foundation. They're saying the account will be limited if not given. Structure up something and give it to them. It's not that big of a deal. It's not going to take away your right as a state citizen at all. Um, they're all now also asking for a phone number to which was never required for the foundation. Don't worry about it. If you're worried about it, go get a Google number and give it to them. Also wondering if the constructive notice, as stated, a update for the authorized user, executive director should be sent certified mail to clear things up. Also wondering if constructive notice of status update. I wouldn't worry about giving them a status update, but if they are changing things, asking you to confirm certain things that are like US citizen or US person or taxpayer, um, the constructive notice letter after the fact where you cinch things up and you send them a notice letter via email, via mail, whatever, to append it to the application just to dot the i's and cross the t's is acceptable. I mean, we have a notice letter that you can utilize from the back office if that's what you're asking. My apologies if you're not asking that. If I fill out an F bar form as a state citizen, is it going to jeopardize my status? I don't know what an F bar form is, but remember something. Um, in applications, the birth certificate is the all caps name going on it. Corporations cannot do business with living man. They have to do businesses with like entities. And so that's why they created the birth certificate, a corporation, Inslee Just Trust. And the bottom line is you're signing on behalf of that artificial person as the trustee. So you want to make sure you're just adding the word by in front of your name and do a full signature or full reservation under the signature so that you're not worried about it. Applied for an EIN number for a single member LLC on the letter from the IRS under the name of the LLC as my natural name instead of the name of the foundation. How do I correct the status to make sure the flow through entity of the foundation is set of my name? Go to the Secretary of State, make the change there. Should be fine. No problems at all. Meaning making the foundation the primary member of the LLC. Correct. Secretary of State. And it's generally something I think you depends on the Secretary of State, but you can probably get it done online pretty easily. About a month ago, I was putting my motorcycle into my foundation. I had to do it at the Secretary of State. While I was there, they said I needed another member to accept it in the foundation unless I was a sole member and had me fill out an affidavit saying I was the only member to complete the transaction. I filled out the brief statement. I was the only available member and signed non-assumption. Can there be any repercussions for this, for the Secretary of State to require me to do this? No. I mean, I haven't read the document, but no, if you sign on a subsidy, you should be golden. And by the way, great job, Sean. That's the go-to for all things. Um, yeah, good job. If you had a chance to have someone who really important for you to watch only two videos to give them the best understanding of why they should be in the private, which two do you choose? It's a great question. I think yesterday is one of them. And the living in the private video on the home screen of HISAdvocates.org could be another one. Um, I know we need to do better work, and we're working on a structural system that will really help people walk into an understanding of what we do. You got to remember, I didn't have anything like a Kelby out there to hear this stuff from. I had a bunch of crazy people saying the word freedom. It was God that ordained a lot of things in my life to brought people who went down the path of state citizenship way long before me that allowed for me to take steps that I never would have taken without that. Um, but it's taken us a long time to create this entire thing. And this book is probably more important than any video you're gonna see. So getting somebody the video from yesterday and then telling them you're going to buy them a 2.99 book, and you can go to Amazon, click on the Kindle version. They don't need to be a Kindle member. Click on the Kindle version, buy them the book. You can put 5 emails in there and it'll charge 2.99 times 5. And you put 5 emails in there and click the subject matter and what you want in the body, and Amazon will send them that with the links of the purchase. Now they have the book, and now they have the video of why they want to watch the book or read the book. And now they will understand why you went on this path that you went on, and it will solidify that you're not so silly. I didn't want to say the word dumb, but a lot of people think we're dumb for taking this road of what I believe is sanity for us, but not logical for other people. I don't want to be under a corporation. Does that make sense? I want to be under the country to which we were established, the greatest nation in the world. And if there is two, and there is two entities, the United States of America and the United States. And if there is two, and there is two citizenships, I want to know about that. And this video and that book really does explain that. So I would focus on the one video and the one book. And then we can get them the living in the private. And because we're creating a series of emails that draw them in over a time period. For me, it took years to come to this knowledge and understanding. And I don't think even when they've been going down a road of feeling like they need to do something for a long time. They don't just randomly make decisions on something of this magnitude. IRS, SSA, voters, DMV, DOS, you're dealing with all these agencies saying what and why. That's a big deal. So two videos probably not enough, but the book and the video to start, and then have them join hisadvocates.org. Then they're going to get piecemealed some stuff. I've had people as members of HISAdvocates.org since 2012 that are just now signing up. They've been a member since 2012. Some paying since 2012, on and off, and just now are signing up for the living in the private for state citizenship. Just blows my mind. And it's because they needed that time. I've had people that have paid in full and just watch and do nothing for years and say, okay, we're ready. I'm like, okay, let's go. It's funny. Anyway, next question, more of a statement. I'm a fan of Todd Callender, who has been fighting for medical freedom for servicemen. He also filed a quo warranto to expose all Biden's cabinet members did have oaths of office. The past several weeks, he's been talking about how under 42 CFR Section 70 and 71, they will be able to implement a medical martial law. He says it even strips us of constitutional rights. Yeah, so he doesn't really understand, Saul. We don't have constitutional rights. Um, we have God-given unalienable rights, and a United States citizen has, and I show it in the book, um, no access to the Bill of Rights. So if I remove myself from the matrix via the LVP, LPP, will I be protected from this medical martial law? 100%. You're not under their jurisdiction. There's no, listen, guys, even as a United States citizen, even as one of those Jews in 1940, one of the 27,000 on a video saying you got to get on this train with only 5 servicemen holding guns and 27,000 people being uprooted from their houses and told to get on a train and they don't know where they're going to go. You don't think that was voluntary? I guarantee it was voluntary. We fail for a lot of reasons. We are scared for a lot of reasons. Stop being scared. The answer is no. Okay, I don't care if you're a U.S. citizen, Saul, or a state citizen. The answer is no. You don't agree to anything that you don't agree with. Okay, especially for your children. You protect, you stand, you be a man and die for your kids. You be a man and die for your wife. You stand in the way. You take the bullet. You do whatever it takes to stop the action from happening and protect your children, protect your family, and protect yourself, and raise as much awareness about this as we can, because that's what men are supposed to do. We're supposed to stand in the gap for the innocent people. And a lot of us are just standing around waiting for the white hats to win this for us. And that's all smoke and mirrors, if you ask me. I'm not waiting for anybody. Next question. If you're interested in medical learning, yeah, I am. Thanks. I'll watch that. Let me pull that out. What I'm gonna do is put this in the comment section, both on hisadvocates.org or the Zoom and our LP. Boy, I'm getting tired. I'm not able to think. Pardon my and YouTube. Um, yeah, I'll watch the video. Thanks, buddy. All right. Next, do you have information in your VIP section that can help somebody with mortgage issues? Tina, I have a guy naming a number that you can call and ask. He's helped a lot of people with mortgage foreclosure issues, different things like that. And we're starting to raise awareness for foreclosure again. We're not taking clients on this foreclosure, but we want to help people and give them information, specifically names and numbers and all that stuff. Um, okay, Cameron has a question. If I have 2 foundations where I've already completed all my administrative documents, do I still need to do the same administrative process for my second foundation? I don't know what administrative process you did for your second foundation, Cameron, and I know we got a consultation coming up. Just make sure this is one of those things. Do you need an answer on that by tomorrow? If you do, send an email to kelby@hisadvocates.org. I'll try to address it by tomorrow because I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks, and I know that you need to address some stuff. But if it's something you can wait until the consultation, then I'll see you over there. All right, guys. Looks like I addressed all the questions. I'm not going to be back on Monday or the following Monday. 2 Mondays from Monday, 3 weeks from today. Please, they're not here to save our country. I know there's some good people in office that want to save our country. I know that we have an opportunity to reflect upon freedom like never before, but this book contains truth. It contains the laws that support what we're able to do. And remember, your United States citizenship cannot be involuntarily revoked, meaning Trump cannot reset the republic and state that you are free. He can't. It's your God-given unalienable right to be a slave, or it's your God-given unalienable right to be a free man under God. This book proves it. Thank you. Get this out to as many people as you can. The most important thing, I think, other than it's going to sound crazy, but there's a lot of important books out there, but this is one of the best books. And it's not because I'm the author. This was a team writing this. I'm the main author, but it is two things I wanted to make sure happened. Nothing can be refuted in this book in the law. And the other is you can't refute what I've gone through in my life and what I share. So I wanted to make sure the truth prevailed. And I wanted to make sure that people had something they could stand on. And I wanted to make sure these case laws were still active. Guys, we have something very powerful now. And it's organized and cohesive and easily understandable. Help me to get it out to the people. Do the bare minimum to help people realize for themselves Revelations 18:4 and become free. God bless you guys. Thank you so much for joining. Have a great couple of weeks. I'll be back. Thank you. Let's see what we can do in the next 2 weeks about getting this information out. Have a great couple of weeks, but look forward to uh, having some time alone with my wife and